Check.
Goes on, but doesn't stay there.
Won't stay on.
All right, let's start again. We did have some last-minute changes to our agenda, so there is an additional agenda item on for this morning. And I'll introduce them later. But first, I want to thank Joel Taylor, who's the CEO of Hilton Head Hospital, for doing a last-minute change for us. But we're glad to have him. We had planned to have him on a later agenda. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Joel Taylor, the CEO of Hilton Head Hospital. Joel, thank you for joining us.
Not necessarily a podium guy, but I will do my best so that you all can hear me. Thank you, Mayor Williams, for the invitation. Thank you all for the opportunity to just share a little bit about what's going on with our hospitals. And when I say our hospitals, I'm specifically referring to Hilton Head Hospital and Coastal Carolina Hospital. And the exciting news really started February 1st when we formalized the transition from Tenet Healthcare, for which Hilton Head Hospital had been part of for 25 years, to Novant Health, which is a North Carolina not-for-profit system that's been in existence for decades, that has 16 hospitals in North Carolina in that region, and now has 3 South Carolina hospitals, including our 2 plus East Cooper Medical Center. I will tell you, I've been a resident of Bluffton for 7.5 years, and proud of what we have done as a health system. I'm so excited about what Novant Health brings to us in the community. We'll share a little bit about that this morning, but we are proud of who we are and what we will be becoming over the next several months. We are now 120 days in, and after being part of Tenet for 25 years, it's a pretty dramatic change. I should introduce as well, my boss, Jason Byrne, is with us, who is the South Carolina region president as well. He is simply emblematic of everyone at Novant who is excited to be part of South Carolina and the growth and change that will be coming to our health system. So a little bit about Novant Health, and I will do my best to do it justice. As I've said, I've been affiliated with them for 120 days. And the nuance of it actually is until August 1st, but we are now fully Novant Health. So a little bit about Novant. South Carolina, and so now a strong presence in South Carolina that we're focused on growing from here. Novant Health is exceptionally focused on equity and in partnering with the community and our physicians. And so as community, that's what I would tell you, you will see the biggest difference in, that we will seek your input, the broader community's input, in our approach on strategy and on growth, on physician, and Novant Health has already started that. So in the now 4 months, we have opened a 4th operating room at Coastal Carolina Hospital, opened the Ochsner Novant Health 65 plus practice. Several of you all were at the ribbon cutting and opening of that. There is more to come. Something that our health system frankly has not been focused on is primary care up until becoming part of Novant Health. And within 30 days, we've posted 10 primary care physician positions, say that 3 times fast, and already are having active candidates come and tour the area. So we have heard the community need for primary care, and we are responding. That is in addition to other specialists that we have already been recruiting. So I would say, if you look back historically, and I'll talk a little bit about this, but if you look back historically, our system has been focused on the expertise component of healthcare. So recruiting and retaining the best specialists, partnering with them, serving the community, and supporting the hospital. As we grow, we are focused on that, plus meeting the community where they are and their needs. So it's primary care, it's other advanced medical specialties that otherwise we had not been too focused on recruitment. So back to the February 1st transition date, just a little bit of detail here before you. I won't read all the numbers, but just so you all know the significance of the transaction, it was a $2.4 billion transaction for 3 hospitals, plus the associated physician practices and other components, imaging centers that are affiliated with our 3 hospitals. So a significant investment by Novant Health in our state, in our area, has already happened, and they continue to invest in our area. And that $2.4 billion was for less than 300 beds. So for those of you that are familiar with hospitals, we often talk in licensed bed counts. Our 2 hospitals locally are relatively small on the scale of hospitals. What we do is pretty remarkable, though, and I'll talk a little bit about that and what makes us who we are today, and then where we see the growth coming in the future. I referenced too, and it's on this slide, that the intent of the arrangement was to close February 1st for the financial transaction to occur and then the other components to follow. So right now, all of our employees, our colleagues, our contracted physicians are actually still tenant employees until August 1st. And so what that allowed Novant Health to do, and tenant, to ensure that all of the infrastructure was in place come August 1st for a smooth transaction and transition and payroll and all of the benefit components. So in June, our colleagues will go through an open enrollment period, new health benefits, but Novant Health has done a fantastic job in ensuring that those health benefits are the same or better than what we have historically had, but also the paid time off plan, the transition from 401k to 403b also will be a big positive for our team members. So a lot of work going on behind the scenes that I want you all as community leaders to know is happening, but there's also an opportunity for us to continue to reach out to you all to gain your feedback. And we've done that. Jason and I have done that with several of you already, just to assess what do you all want and need, and then we can share details of what our strategic plan is and will become over the next several years. You know, one I'll highlight, this was said early on, you know, $2.4 billion is a lot of money. And I had an opportunity to visit with Novant leadership, one of which is this is a 100-year investment for Novant Health, that they are here to stay and to grow, and that the purchase of these hospitals was not a landing spot, but rather a launching spot to grow and do more in our communities and to continue to develop a robust health system in our area. So I'm proud to be a part of it and honored to be able to continue to lead our health system. This is just a quick kind of timeline that maps out that behind the scenes work that we've had going on. And I don't know how much you all watch advertisements, and I don't know that advertisements from hospitals are all that exciting, but from my vantage point, we have been very internally focused at the moment, but over the next several weeks and months, you will see more and more pronounced marketing and public relations from us as Novant Health as we pull everything together. So a little bit about our health system and why Novant was intrigued with our 2 hospitals. It really starts with our community, and that we're not the typical 100,000 person community. If you look at Hilton Head Regional Healthcare that serves Jasper County and Beaufort County, we're well over 100,000 people. Our service area, though, principally historically has been Jasper County and southern Beaufort County, but we will continue to evaluate what else can we do and should we do. But I'll go back to our community, that we're not the typical 100,000 person community. You see a number of logos up there. that represent a little bit about who we are. But this is an exciting place to live. I'm happy to live here. My family, I have two young sons and my wife. We love this area. It's been such a great gift to us. And this area is no longer a secret. Y'all know that. It continues to grow. We want to grow with it and provide and be the leader in healthcare that we have been. So a little bit about our health system. I won't read all these slides, but I'll picture. These are just the acute care facilities, so to speak. We have no less than 50 employed physicians and associated clinics, and we expect in the next 5 years to double that number of employed physicians. As I referenced earlier, we posted 10 primary care physician positions, and that's just the starting spot. So we will continue to expand, continue to grow, and as healthcare evolves, fewer and fewer needs are on the acute care side. So much more is on the ancillary side, the outpatient side of healthcare. As medical advances have moved us forward, technology, et cetera, we're able to continue to treat patients on an outpatient basis. So we will focus on that immensely. Whenever I give or am invited to present to a group, I want to highlight the physicians that care for you all, that care for your family, that care for my family. These are individuals that could live and work anywhere. They were trained at the best institutions. This has been our mantra for well before I got here, which was to recruit and retain the best physicians. This is a very, what I would call, health literate population, so they have high expectations. Our physicians just choose to live here, and we get the opportunity to work with them. We build programs with them that meet their needs and expectations so that they can deliver the high quality care that they expect to provide to their patients. So just highlighted some of those world-class institutions here. And we do that with the aim of providing high quality care. And this isn't led by me, so to speak, the number of quality awards. We don't do this to put on a slide. We do this to provide exceptional care, to meet the expectation, the expectations of our community, of our physicians. And this starts with every single individual that works at our hospitals. And we talk about it in orientation. And next week, because I know I've talked with a number of you all, staffing the hospitals is a focus. It is operationally and strategically priority number one. Next week, we have 33 new team members that will join us. And that has been the routine over the last 4 to 6 months. We are starting to see more and more interest in working with our hospitals, and I attribute a large portion of that to partnering with Novant Health. And so we see we are headed in the right direction. And we start on day one talking about quality and the focus that we have on that. We also partner with a number of local organizations that we're proud to be long-term partners with, but also excited about what else we can do. And so Jason Byrne and myself have begun those conversations with Volunteers in Medicine locally. I have had the honor to serve on the board at Bluffton Self-Help for a number of years and want to continue and be part of that community. And this community is the most philanthropic group I've ever seen, but the need is real as well. And so partnering with them, being a strong community pillar in that, we're focused on. And I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight continued work with USCB and also Technical College of the Lowcountry. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 newly graduated nurses that will start with us over the next 30 to 60 days, principally coming from USCB and TCL. They have been great partners. We're excited about what they continue to offer to the community, and we'll focus on how do we grow that relationship, grow their nursing class sizes, explore other ancillary healthcare opportunities that TCL offers. How do we ensure that we are a preferred partner for them? So, just a little bit. I'm somewhat a numbers guy. What we do is not. We don't take care of widgets. We take care of people. We don't build widgets. We rebuild lives. But numbers help tell the story. And so this is just a snapshot for you all as leaders of who we are year in and year out. So over 1,300 employees locally. and for the good of the group. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 70% of those live in Jasper and Beaufort counties. We do see a number of colleagues drive from Georgia to work at Coastal Carolina. And so back to our desire to be part of the community and the response to the community needs, we're beginning to have those conversations with local government officials to figure out, well, what's our role in providing a solution. I know affordable housing is the headline that everyone talks about. We'll be at the table as that as those conversations go further down the line. So just a snapshot again, we'll do over 1,000 deliveries this year, over 6,000 surgeries.
We have representation from the town of Ridgeland. Thank you, Heather. Okay, having said
Joel, what are the expansion plans specifically in the Hardyville area?
Great question. I think the answer at the moment is we're very aware of the growth in the number of people that will live in the Hardyville and around Coastal Carolina. So our initial step is to do a master plan assessment of what makes sense. So there are not any immediately defined plans. What we will be doing is making sure that we grow coastal at an appropriate rate to meet the community needs and expectations, knowing that it's a 41-bed hospital today that does amazing work, but future state, it will be larger. So.
Try holding it down, Scott.
Joe, I'm the city manager for the city of Beaufort. We all have. Is there any kind of agreement that you have with Beaufort Memorial, discussions you have where you want to expand?
There is not an agreement. Actually, I'm not even sure we would be allowed to have said agreement. We've had some very high-level conversations over the years, but there's nothing in place at the moment. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Certainly, Danny.
Joel, $69,000 as a median income is encouraging. However, what percentage of your employees either cannot afford to live in Beaufort, or Jasper, or they can afford it, but housing is not currently available?
It's a good question. I can't answer that with exact figures. What I can tell you is, as we recruit people from outside of this area, it's increasingly challenging for them to find housing, and we have lost candidates, strong candidates, because of their inability to find housing. And so we've tried to combat that in a number of different ways, one of which is, I guess it was late last summer, entered into an agreement with the Richardson Group on Hilton Head Island, and right now master lease 10 units, what I would call studio apartments on the south end of Hilton Head, trying to offer up to employees just an opportunity to come and assess what the community's like, assess the housing, where they want to live. And so we will continue to evaluate, what's our response for employees, knowing that cost of living is significant, cost of housing in particular is insignificant, so, is significant, excuse me. So.
Glenn?
Thank you. Joel, speak to us about the advantage and features.
So as a not-for-profit hospital, I think what you all will see and feel most notably is the reinvestment in the community. The reinvestment in the facilities. To Novant Health's credit, they have already spent well over $2 million on our 2 hospitals in 4 months. And it is a variety of things. New equipment for the cath labs at Hilton Head Hospital, but also as smaller things like new stretchers and new mattresses too. So some of those things, you will just see a quicker investment in the capital infrastructure of our facilities, but also in our people, and that will come over time. There's not an immediate flip the switch, but it will become more and more evident to our colleagues, to our team members, that reinvestment in people. And so as the market CEO, I think what it does for me is it changes some of the mindset of when we spend significant dollars, and any piece of healthcare equipment is significant dollars, is this the most prudent and necessary thing to do right now, or should we reinvest it somewhere else? Because the capital, we are self-funding, and any future projects will be self-funding by and large. And so making sure that we're investing in the right spots. So, good question.
Yes, Alice.
I noticed you had $16 million in charity care. Is that Hilton Head and Coastal?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Describe that.
Sure, it's what we call it charity care. It's really foregone revenue. So it's a calculation based on what we would presumably have been paid had people paid their bills, and yet were unable to, for one reason or another, qualified for charity care, unable to pay. So.
Yes, John.
In Jasper, a lot of it's rural.
Yes.
What is your plans for the rural part of Jasper, if there's any plans?
Much like earlier comments, we are still developing those. What I will say, Jasper, I worked at Coastal Carolina for 5 years. I'm proud of my time there, excited about everything that Ryan Lee and the team at Coastal has done over the last 2.5 years. Jasper County is rural today, but it's growing. We know that Ridgeland is a popular destination for a lot of people. It was recently named in a national publication. And so we want to respond accordingly. What that looks like, we're still determining. I would say this, as we look at where to place 10 primary care physicians, Jasper County is in that equation. So, yes, sir.
Oh, Larry.
Joel, just for educational purposes, if nothing else, when I met with Joel, one of my main question was, when can we look to have a trauma center somewhere closer to Bluffton than Memorial in Savannah and MUSC in Charleston? Can y'all hear me? Mainly, I asked that question because I have a daughter who's a trauma nurse that works at Memorial in Savannah, and they are swamped. Every shift, it's really amazing. So I understood your answer that you gave me before, but I thought it was very interesting. Maybe you could educate everyone else on what it would actually take and what all is involved to bring in a level 1 or 2 trauma center to our area?
Great question, Mr. Mayor. So we have a great partnership with Savannah Memorial. They are the area's closest level 1 trauma center. My response to the mayor's question when we got together was, I don't foresee us becoming a level 1 trauma center anytime in the near future. What we have opportunity to do now is assess, does it make sense to really begin the journey on a trauma designation? We haven't landed on the answer. I will tell you, across our 2 hospitals, the facility that sees more trauma is Coastal Carolina, and the proximity to the interstate plays a part, but also just kind of the different EMS companies that take to Coastal. So we will continue to assess what are the various needs for trauma designation, because it really goes from 4 to 1 being the highest, and the requirements for level 1 trauma, and I don't want to come off as knowing all of the intricacies of it, but the in-house physician needs from neurology and neurosurgery to in-house traumatologists. Our 2 hospitals are community hospitals. We are not going to be everything to everybody. What we will be is good from a high-quality standpoint. We will be good at what we do. And so that has been our mantra for the last 8+ years. We have delivered on that. I think we now have an opportunity to expand upon the services that we have historically provided. So that's kind of, in short, kind of where we are. But I would say the trauma designation, I think, is something we will investigate. Where we land, I can't answer that just yet. Yes.
Go.
Could you go a little bit in depth on Oxnard 65 plus and what that provides to the population? Obviously, it's close to Sun City, and that's a target audience.
Sure. So it is available for any patient with traditional Medicare or a Humana Medicare Advantage plan today. Some of the highlights are really intentional personalized care, and so initial evaluation by a physician is 60 minutes or so, and then depending on the patient's needs, they'll set up exercise plans, and they have exercise equipment and facilities there on site. And so what I would call it is a very advanced primary care practice with the intention of keeping the size of the practice very focused on the senior citizen population. And so, yes, I appreciate the reference on where it's located, because it is intentionally around Sun City. But as we look, there are more 65-plus clinics that are being evaluated in our area and further out as well. So.
Anyone else? Anyone from the public? Okay. Oh, I missed one? I'm sorry, Alice was blocking me, and you're hidden back there.
A couple of questions. Everybody in the 2 counties is trying to recruit doctors and nurses. What distinguishes your recruitment from others? Number 2, do you foresee a need for hospital in Bluffton?
I'm sorry, repeat the second question?
Do you foresee a need for a hospital in Bluffton?
I think we're still evaluating the need for a hospital in Bluffton. As I referenced earlier, so much of healthcare is moving to the outpatient arena and the ancillary side of things. So determining which direction do we want to go and where do we want to invest is an ongoing process. In terms of recruitment and the differentiation on nursing and physicians, gosh, we're trying all kinds of things. But what I will say is this. 1, we start with a leg up over a lot of places just given our geography. To live and work in Jasper, southern Beaufort County, that's an advantage. I think the other piece is the existing medical staffs that we have, and this is something we've talked about a lot recently, which is I will know we are very successful in physician recruitment when our physicians are our biggest recruiters. By that I mean they are the ones promoting us, promoting our organization, promoting the culture of our organizations, and so that's what will differentiate us long term, I fundamentally believe. But the high quality of the programs that we have had will be the other piece. I moved here from East Alabama, and I've said this a lot. I moved here and thought, wow, physician recruitment will have never been easier in my career. I've been doing this a while. And I got here and I realized this area is so unique. You have to have the right physicians to be here and to be successful long term. And we've been successful in that, especially as of late. You know, in 2023, we brought in 7 new physicians, 1 new primary care physician, but then 6 specialists that have joined us from some of the great institutions I highlighted. So we'll continue that and accelerate as well. So, yeah.
Anyone else? Yes, Jocelyn.
Hi. I continue to hear that one of the biggest impediments to the hospital is being able to hire people because they can't find anywhere to live. The surrounding municipalities in both counties are all working on growth management tools, how to decrease density, how to buy up land, how to stop growth. What would you say to the group of leaders if they were around the table near you about your need for housing and what you need them to be doing?
So the need for housing at an affordable level is pretty significant. And so to this group, and I know many on the table are working on it, what I am excited about is the recent success in public-private partnerships.
Okay. Next, not on the agenda, but I've bounced him around the last couple of months, and I appreciate his patience. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Tyler Mannion, who is a anchor on WTOC and is involved with Alzheimer's. We also have 2 guests joining him. Mr. Chris Long and Janet Long, who are sitting right here, and they'll be speaking a little later. Thank you. Joel, he's gone. You're Tyler.
It's funny. Hey, everyone.
It's all yours.
Largest fundraiser in the world to fight this disease. It goes globally, and we raise millions and millions of dollars, all of it going right back into the community. Saturday, we're going to kick it off at 10 a.m. It's on the family or whatever. Currently, we've raised about 15. Or to your team in general, something that would be great for a municipality to do, something that would be great for any kind of organization that would do. Hey, this is Team Hilton Head. You can join Team Hilton Head, or you can donate to Team Hilton Head, X and Y and Z. Our goal for this year is $110,000. Frankly, I think we can blow that out of the water. Last year, we didn't capitalize on a lot of opportunities that we could have. Talk about those in a second. But I think just starting here today brings us to that. So why is the guy from the news here to talk to you about this thing? Well, see the picture on the left is last year's walk. So about a month, 2 months before last year's walk, the Alzheimer's Association asked me to MC it. I have a personal connection, which we'll talk about picture on the right in a second, but very quickly beforehand, they asked me to get involved. And so I did. Like I said, missed some opportunities last year. One of them being at our walk, we didn't have a single elected official who we could shout out and say, hey, thanks for coming. Why that didn't happen, I have no idea. Now I've taken a bigger role. We want to make sure that that happens this year. 2, this is the most important person in my life. This is my mom. At 54 years old, just 3 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. It's something that should never happen, but happens to far too many people, especially in our area. We know the population and the median age of that population, making this disease even more relevant here than it is across the rest of the country and world as it rips families apart. With my mom, every day is hard. She fights. She doesn't live here. She lives up in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and so sometimes it makes me feel helpless, as it can for a lot of family members who don't get to literally fight this disease as their loved one does. This is the way that I feel as though I'm helping, is to come and talk to you guys about why you should care. It's very possible that many of you know someone with this disease. It's very possible that many of you have lost someone to this disease. You see that group right there on the left, that's pretty much everyone there had some kind of personal connection. Not only do we want to grow this by getting more people involved that have that personal connection, but we want to grow this by bringing in people that just understand we need to fight this thing together. And it's the only way we're going to beat it is by bringing in folks that don't have that personal connection like I do, like the Longs do, who you'll hear from in a second. Which takes me to this. We could play the video and just skip to about 30 seconds in. So like I said, you should be able to click on the link directly. Perfect. So it'll have like some audio at the beginning. You just skip past it. I'll let you know when to play it. But like we said, I work for WTOC, so we try to highlight this. WTOC is the media partner for this event. And so last year, this is the morning before the walk. This is Friday morning. I did a story, you can play, and then we'll just let it go. If you can skip to about 30 seconds in. Those are 2 of our anchors. I was out in the field, and we were previewing the event to let everyone know about it. Our media partnership will be even more robust. This year you'll be seeing more about it on WTOC. But this is an introduction to the Longs that we made for folks last year. It might not have sound. Okay.
We didn't know about this.
Okay, no worries. This was last minute. What I can tell you about the Longs as I invite them up, if you guys want to come up. So, the Alzheimer's Association, like I said, is a very robust organization that works around the country. Last year, as we got ready for the walk, we were looking for characters. It's a lot of what we do in storytelling is look for a character that's going to really make this story hit home for you as you watch with your family in the kitchen, as you cook dinner, on your couch, whatever the case may be. And I asked the Alzheimer's Association of South Carolina, hey, is there anyone locally fighting this disease that would be willing to talk about it, that we could talk to? The Longs are the family that I was introduced to, and their strength immediately became apparent. Just so you all know, Chris represented everyone fighting the disease last year at our walk. At our ceremony, we have different colors of flowers. You pick up a flower that represents your connection to the disease, whether you are a caregiver for someone that has it, whether you've lost someone that has it, you're fighting the disease yourself. We bring someone up that represents each group during the ceremony, and they can represent that for that group of people in the crowd. Chris represented our folks fighting this disease, and he was the first person in the history of the state of South Carolina to hold that flower at a ceremony while receiving the recently approved by the FDA treatment of leukemia. This was a huge deal. There was not a dry eye in the house. And Chris's strength is incredible. And let them talk about how they felt at the walk, so you all truly can understand what this means. But just so you know, that's who you're about to hear from.
Sure. Chris was diagnosed a year and a half ago with early onset Alzheimer's, and it was devastating for the 2 of us. But we immediately started researching, found a neurologist up at MUSC who would work with us to get Chris on the newest drug, which is LEQEMBI. It was partially released in January of last year, and Medicare wouldn't approve it or anything like that because it was too new at the time. Fortunately, Chris was at the point when it was fully released in July of 2023. Chris was the first patient in South Carolina to go on that drug. So we worked with our physician on that and were able to get him on that. Because he was the first in South Carolina and at MUSC, we gained a little notoriety, and through Tyler and his piece on the news, and the Alzheimer's Association basically learned a lot about us and asked us. He started treatment on October 3rd, and we were asked to be in the walk on that later, was it October 25th last year or something like that? And so we said absolutely we would be there. And I will say that we had no contact with really anybody who had had Alzheimer's, only friends whose parents had had it, or friends who had had it, so we had no real support at the time. We did have hope because he was on this drug, but when we finally were part of an association or a group and part of this walk, it made us feel part of a big, broad group of people who are working to talk a little bit.
That, hey, a lot of you folks that have been coming out to this walk for a decade have more hope than you've ever had. Got to the end of the walk that
I thought it was important, as this regional group, to have the opportunity to hear what's going on and perhaps contribute. I have a note, perhaps we get Team Hardyville out there and with T-shirts and you know, as Tyler said, there's also, we do have connections to business partners that may want to be involved in this as well. So, thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next month.
I wanted to say hello to you.
Yeah, I like to get more involved, especially with the improve underserved locations. Because I get more and more questions about how we hook up, when is the sewage coming in? You got